Hello, hello, hello. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Freedom Day. Happy Independence Day. Please drop a one in the chat if you can hear me. What's up, Chandra? Y'all, we are here. We are here in the thick of history, right? In the thick of legacy, in the thick of homage. And today we give so much praise to the ancestors. We give so much praise to the ancestors. And I would like to start off with um, my own tribute with the singing of the Black National Anthem. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening ride, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way with the tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloom, me past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our wearies, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Ashe. Ashe, 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 feel all of the feels, not just ours, but for everybody who marched for us, who bled for us, who sang songs for us, everybody who gave their lives for us, folk who jumped off of the ship because they would rather die than be held in chains. Let us feel all of the feels for Big Mama and Big Daddy, for our mothers who were doing the best that they could. For caretakers who were not of our own blood. Let us feel all the feels. And today, and many of you should not be surprised, this will not be a spectator sport. In this Juneteenth tribute, we will raise our voices to speak the names and tell the stories of our ancestors who have brought us to this point of freedom. Because freedom has continued to evolve since the day in 1865 when those last few slaves in Texas learned that they had freedom. Freedom has continued to evolve when other back roads were still in bondage in the 20s. Freedom has continued to evolve since the civil rights movement, right? Since we as Black women had the right to vote. So I want you to tap the hand button and I want you to tell us a story of one of your ancestors. Say their names, male or female, who have made an impression on you, your community, your family. And as you say that name, everyone else, I want us to write in the chat that name. Because even if critical race theory doesn't get it right, we are the storytellers. We are the griots. We will make sure that our names are written in history and our contributions are valued. So I want you to tell your story of your ancestors, the ones that you know names of. It could be your grandmother, it could be your mother, it could be the mother of the church. It could be your uncle, your father. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I know my daddy is listening, and I love you so much, Pops. I love you so much, Pops. If anybody saw Ebo's son in the metaverse last night, that was my daddy. My daddy was in there as early as I was. I didn't even realize that was him at first. But I want you to tell their stories, right? Say their names, and we promise to write their names in the chat because we will tell our stories using our own words. Okay? All right, so first one up is my girl, Demetria. I'm handing you the mic, mama.
Hello, good morning. I'd like to share the story of my grandmother, Linda Rose. She is still living in the physical world with us today, but I wanted to share her story. She's the eldest of 6 children. Her mother was an immigrant from the Cape Verde Islands, and she had to take on the household of cleaning, raising her siblings, doing laundry. And then she birthed my mother and my auntie at the age of 19 and took a Greyhound bus from Massachusetts to California because she was tired of her parents still treating her as a child. And I learned of that story while interviewing her for one of my classes, and it just made me realize things that I didn't know and things that she doesn't speak of until I ask.
Ooh, beautiful. I feel that I am so happy to today know of Linda Rose. Her name has been repeated over and over and over in the chat. So we are saying her name. Sis, thank you so much for sharing, Demetria.
Thank you. Thank you for the platform.
Of course. Beautiful. We are celebrating Juneteenth for those that are just tuning in, that are watching inside of the platform as well as externally. Um, this is a beautiful moment. Not only do we have thousands that have registered for this conference, but we have about 30 different syndicated networks through social media channels that have signed up to share this live. So this is us writing history without waiting for permission. The next person to the stage is Tierra Davis. Tierra, share a story about one of your ancestors. Say their name and we will write it in the chat.
Hello, hello. Let me get this TV down. Happy Juneteenth to everyone here. And it's kind of crazy because I don't know a lot. My family is not really close knit, but who I would like to share a story on is my Nana, who's still here. Her name is Valerie. And the reason I want to share her story is because it's a story that she doesn't talk about. And she doesn't know that her not saying the words, it's already saying enough. And my Nana went to Gage Park, which is in Chicago, Illinois, which I don't know if many of you know, but Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. himself said that Chicago was one of the most segregated cities that he has ever visited. And she went there during a time where she was not welcome would be an understatement, right? So my Nana did not graduate. She did not graduate high school. She never got her diploma. She years later, when it became an option, she got her GED. And every time I would try to ask her just questions about it and how it was for her at that time, she never talked about it. So I stopped pushing the issues because her lack of words was really a mouthful. So I just want to thank her for continuing to press forward and even having the courage to go ahead and go get her GED and set up life for us thereafter. So thank you, Nana.
Beautiful. We celebrate you, Miss Valerie. We celebrate you, Nana. Thank you so much, Tierra. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. We are giving praise to the ancestors in celebration of Freedom Day, Independence Day, Juneteenth. And what we know about our stories is that the ancestors are even still with us. It's the names we remember, not just those distant figures that they want us to recall. Next coming to the stage is Gina Green.
Everyone. So my great grandmother was born and raised in St. Kitts, which is part of the Caribbean, small little island not too far from Trinidad Tobago, but it's called St. Kitts, and Nevis is its sister island. For those who don't know, part of what you call a Leeward Islands, like the Caribbean. But anyway, so she was born and raised there, but she had 6 kids, wanted a better life for them. She came to the United States through Europe over on to Ellis Island, which where, as you know, most white people came that way. But the interesting thing, and I always find it motivating, is that she didn't come with the kids. She left the bigger ones in St. Kitts. She left the little ones in Europe. And so there's this picture that people have in the family that's passed down. And she's so sad in the picture. And that's because they didn't have Wi-Fi. They didn't have telephones back then to communicate how her babies are. So when you think of leaving 6 kids to go to another country, not even a store, but to another country, it's so mind-boggling for me. Every time I get a little bit down, I think if she could do that, I got to do better. If she could leave 6 babies, let 6 kids come to a brand new place and get started. And eventually she, worked and got them all over here. But it was just so impressive to me. It's like something that I have in my back of my mind as to I can do more. If she did that, I can do better. So it just kind of encourages me. So Mary Isabel is her name. And she's long gone, but not forgotten at all.
Not forgotten. Let's slide up the chat with Mary Isabel, a hero indeed. Mary Isabel. Uh, and it's Isabel, right? Or Isabella?
Yes, Isabel.
All
Mm-hmm.
right, Mary Isabel. We pay homage to her, Gina, and thank you so much for sharing her story because it definitely shows us the lengths that we should go.
Mm-hmm.
Better
Mm-hmm.
lives. Love and light.
Thank you for letting me share.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. These are stories of freedom. This is Juneteenth, right? This is the embodiment of what we continue to do every single day. So, next coming to the stage is Samia Mosley.
Thank you. So I want to honor my grandmother, Miss Annie Mae. We're talking about a 4'8" woman that was just a spirit of strength and fire. I got a little bit. So even now in my family, if something happens, we be cool, but like on the inside, it's an inside joke. If we gotta get somebody together, in my family we call it the anime. So it's still an ongoing thing. Be like, girl, you didn't anime or did I had to, child. Like it's just an ongoing thing in our family. So Annie wasn't no joke. She was, when I say this lady was in, so she passed away around 91, but she was in her late 80s still. We would say chopped wood, but she would call it splitting wood, from East Tennessee, Athens, Tennessee to be exact, which is in between Chattanooga and Knoxville. But this woman took care of 6 kids. She was married to my grandfather, but my grandfather worked in Chattanooga to provide. So it was on her own to take care of 3 boys, 3 girls. And not only that, agriculture is how they survived. My grandmother had over 100 acres of land that she tended to. So we're talking about multiple gardens, animals, the farmland, pigs and cows. She did it on her own. And she would walk to at least 8, if I'm not mistaken, 8 to 9 miles every day, early in the morning to go clean the white people's homes before the kids got up, then come back, take care of 6 kids, then come back and tend to the farm. And I love her. I miss her, but like you said, she's still with us. And I don't know how, but I've been saying to my family for a while, y'all, that land is just sitting there. And I want to honor her with something. Probably in my family, I'm believing the next generation, the younger ones, will have the vision, the spirit of being entrepreneurs. But right now, I'm the only one. And so when I say things like that, they're like, no, we're going to sell it. And I'm like, no, no, that's Granny's land. Like we can honor her with something. So yeah, I know I kind of over talked a little bit, but I just wanted to shout out my grandmother, Annie Mae, because she was all that plus some, such a beautiful spirit. And I'm glad to have that same beautiful spirit that she like just naturally gave to me. So thank you, Casey.
Of course, Samia, and take up space, baby. Don't you ever apologize. I love that. You ain't Annie Mae, did you? I'm gonna start
Oh
saying
yeah,
that.
oh yeah, yeah. Yes,
You ain't
like
Annie Mae, did
Annie
you?
Mae, Annie Mae is like a vibe. Don't I would get you together, or
Yeah,
it's like a vibe. So yeah,
yeah. Beautiful. Well,
we
I
love
am
Annie.
absolutely sure that she is proud of you. You have a very fierce spirit, intertwined with that soft temperament. So you go forth, you do it, and if you ever need anything, you let me know. You let Blaze know. So even if you might be the only cousin that gets it today, you do have a village, sis.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Beautiful. All right, y'all. For those who are just tuning in, today is Juneteenth. Freedom Day, Independence Day, and we are giving homage to the ancestors, the one that we can name, so that we can tell their story, so that they are forever written in history. I'm going next to my girl Jazz.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna pay honor to my grandmother Maggie. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. But I am from the outskirts. It's called Mount Pleasant, and it's through like the almost the beginning of Gullah Geechee, where sweetgrass baskets are made, and Mount Pleasant used to be like a predominantly black neighborhood, but now gentrification has taken over. A lot of families are selling their land, but my grandmother was like a very spunky 4'8" woman. She only had like a second or third grade education. She couldn't read or write, but she could count money. She was very smart and spunky, and she was like the glue to our family. And that's why our family is so close. Because she said any arguments or disagreements you had, you fix it because you're family. And so if we took that, if she was still living today, she'd have been 107 years old. She was born in 1915. Yeah. And uh, I haven't met anyone like her. I always say that the next generation won't get to experience the grandparents that we had. I always tell my mom, no offense to you, but you are not how my grandmother was. I just wanted to share that. But piggybacking off of Samia, I hope that who was speaking before Samia about selling the land. I hope no one sells their land. I mean, I know some people sometimes they have no choice with family arguing, but you are more valuable with your land than without it. That's why if it wasn't valuable, nobody would want it.
That's
And
good.
if anybody, I'm sorry, Casey, if I don't know if you remember when land was first being sold to the slaves, they would be given all the marshland because none of the white people wanted to live by the water. And now it's the opposite. Now they want us to sell our marshland so they can live by the water.
Yep, that's right. That's right. And this is the very reason, y'all cleave to this experience right here. This is the very reason why we must tell these stories. I don't care. I literally don't care if it does not show up in Western literature. I don't care. I'm done changing people's minds. We have to be the storytellers. We have to remember the spirits of our ancestors, the ones that we can name, the things that we can recall, so that our lineage has this, y'all, and nothing can stop us. So thank you for sharing all of that about Miss Maggie. We love her. We are saying her name in the chat, as well as this recollection of the fact that we were given what was once discarded. We turned it into gold over and over and over again around the world. And now folk are coming for that. Ownership is the answer to so many things. You do not need permission with that. So I honor you, Tiffany. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. Miss Maggie's spirit definitely lives in her. Felt. I'm now handing the mic over to Asia. Asia is going to tell us about her ancestor. Name that ancestor, and we will recall it in the chat.
Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Greetings, Blaze group. I might be breaking the rules because I'm bringing two ancestors up, but I wanted to represent both my mother and my father's side. So to represent my father's side, I'm calling out Anderson Moore, who we believe to be born to a slave owner, but ended up having 12 kids and becoming very successful by having many acres of land, being known as a businessman, a moonshiner, a builder, a farmer. And we actually do still have some of that land today down in Mississippi. Outside of that, to represent my mother's side, we got George Neighbors, who comes from a lineage of his father being a well-known Black foot doctor in Kentucky. George Neighbors went on to have 3 kids, moved to Chicago, and had a very successful Black-owned photography company. So those are my two.
So good. So good. Shout out to Anderson. Hold on, this chat is moving really fast. I forget what I wrote. Anderson Moore and George Neighbors. We pay homage to your ancestors who are also ours, Asia, and thank you so much for sharing their stories, Mama.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Of course. Beautiful, y'all. Beautiful. Stephanie Glover, I am handing the mic to you.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good morning. Um, I am also from Charleston, South Carolina, so I wanted to shout out Tiffany Brown. I have a lot of family in the Mount Pleasant area. And as you know about Charleston, everybody's related in some capacity. So, we might need to talk offline. But who I want to shout out is Cynthia Hurd. She left this earthly space June 17th, 2015. So now 7 years. And she left this earth in the Charleston shooting that happened in Emmanuel Church. So her and the other 8 individuals that was in that church, they were service leaders for our community. And they were people that were pivotal to empowering the youth in our community. Cynthia, in particular, was a spitfire. She was very unapologetic about her and her Blackness and what she wanted. She was unapologetic about taking up space. She also did not have the ability to have kids on her own, but she was a librarian and she managed to raise a community. She was that place where parents would, be comfortable with their kids walking to after school and just hanging out there until, they finished work because they knew Cynthia was there. She was going to make sure those kids did their homework, they was in line, and she was very much so pivotal in teaching us the importance of seeing our beauty. Just again, just taking up space and being unapologetic about who we are. Yeah, she was a community mother for sure. And part of her service was in the church. And that evening that she went to the church, she didn't even feel like going that day. She was tired. She had been working at the library all day, and she was doing some presentations for some events that were coming up at the church later on. And she just wanted to go drop off her trifolds and going on about her business. Like, she was complaining about, yeah, I'm tired, I don't feel like going, but she went. And because again, it was just important for her to see her community win. And a personal story about me and her is we kind of clashed a lot. I'm the oldest sibling in my bloodline, and she's a generation ahead, and she was very strong-willed and dominant, and sometimes I would push back on that. And when I was pregnant with my son, I went into labor, and the hospital that I had was going to deliver in was in Mount Pleasant, and I was living in downtown, so it was a distance. And I couldn't find anybody to take me to the hospital to deliver. And so my grandmother called her, and she shut the library down, honey. And she came and she picked me up and she drove me across that Cooper River Bridge. And I remember I was in the car crying. I was scared. I was 20. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. My life is older. And she kind of scolded me, but she was like, girl, you need to suck it up. You about to bring a young prince into this world. You doing God's work, And so she got me to that hospital, got me in ginger ale, got me settled in and everything. And she held my hand until my parents got there. So she was just somebody that, again, in her own way, she just wanted to spread love incrementally so we could have love within ourselves. And she wanted to teach us how to win as a community. And so I shout her out. It's been 7 years and it still touches us to our core, losing her in that way. But she was definitely a warrior here on this earth. And I feel like even though she's gone, that spirit lives within us because it woke us up in a way. We started wanting to take up space more. My sister, she took a leap of faith and she moved from the East Coast to the West Coast where I am so she could start a new career. And so I think her leaving did wake us up in a way and taught us how short life is, how precious it is, and how magical we are. And we have to use the time that we have here to take up space. So shouts out to Cynthia Hurd.
Absolutely. We give honor to Cynthia Hurd. Man, and that brings so many things full circle, Stephanie. So thank you so much for sharing. May we continue saying her name. Um, may you all, thank you again so much, Stephanie. May you all continue to share these stories. Do not forget, All it takes is you remembering and telling your children, and they gonna tell their children, and they will tell their children, because we need more than just these snippets of the version of Martin Luther King that they want us to remember as if they didn't kill him. Okay. We have to contextualize our experiences and who our heroes were for the things that we know to be heroic, not the things that they are comfortable with. I love you all. I appreciate you all for participating in this piece. You're so, so dope. The ancestors are so, so grateful to you and proud of you. All right, let's pivot over to our first session of the day, brought to us by Dr. Alexis. She is off the chain, and it is called Flexing on Your Fears. I'll see y'all on the other side. Peace.